I'm back. Better than ever. I'm back. Can't keep a good egg down, can you? Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again in the glory that is 2021 with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval theme format where I, the crown jewels of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you, yes, you the person who ate so much cheese over Christmas that you gave yourself a bit of the poops, and then you decided to remedy that situation by eating more cheese. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week. And this week we have none other to thank than Samuel Krantz for their suggestion of generic looking video games that hid killer features. And you know what? That really intrigues me as a concept. I love the idea of looking at video games and just being like, what? How did nobody know that you could do that? But what I thought I'd do is take it a step further and take a look at games that not necessarily are generic, but just had features that weren't advertised that were literally amazing. So come with me, one and all, big and small, as we go and take a look at these video games here that hid killer features. And you know the drill by now. Say hi to me here in the live chat and then put your suggestions for next week's episode down in the comment section below. So what else is there left to do other than to get on with that list? God, I've missed this. Number 8, Shenmue 2 Duck Racing. We begin with something so utterly farcical that I'm still struggling to believe that it actually exists in a video game and can be found in the meticulous and lovingly crafted game that is known only as, and say it with me kids, Shenmue. Or Shenmue, if you want to be really anal about it. Yes, you can come across this ludicrous and surprisingly hard to unlock mode known as duck racing in Shenmue 2, which, as the name suggests, allows you to drop a bill or two on a duck and watch it zoom around a track. Now, the jury is out if all of these competitors are actually legal to be able to compete in this, because one of them is definitely a penguin. But this is easily the most fun way to begin a crippling gambling addiction, even if the method to unlock it is an absolute chore. So first, you need 2 medals, a bronze and a silver one. Now these are pretty easy to come by. The second one, a little bit harder because you have to do some pretty intense street fights, but once you have both, you can go to a location and compete in duck racing. But here's the thing, you might be thinking to yourself, what if I want to own my own duck? What if I want to compete for even more prizes? Well, as soon as you win your first duck racing game, you'll be able to get a gold medal, and then if you return to a shrine and catch 4 leaves, I know that sounds weird, but bear with me, then you will hear a quack emanating from the tree above you, and lo and behold, a duck will fall out of it, allowing you to try and nab this mallard that's just plopped itself on the ground. If you can do all of that, and it is very hard, trust me, the QTEs to grab the leaves are incredibly difficult, then you, my friend, have netted yourself a duck. Huzzah! It is a weird moment for sure, but at least you can give the animal a funny name. I called mine Dick Van Duck. Or should it be Duck Van Duck? Or Duck Van Dick? No, definitely not that. And you know what, why not kick things off in 2021 the only way I know how, by making this Shenmue my musical number of the day. And it's very simple, this. It's basically just the Mortal Kombat theme, but with me saying duck over and over again. Enjoy. Duck, 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 duck.
Right, everybody in here, come on. I brought in the musicians this week, Jules Osley.
Yeah, James, we're not doing the musical interlude this week.
What do you mean we're not doing the music this week?
Well, just look at what he's doing.
I'm moving so quickly, I want to see if my webcam can keep up with the moves.
Oh, go on.
Jeez, I've not been doing any exercise over the winter. It's definitely showing. I'm out of breath. Number 7, Rule the Wasteland, Fallout 2. So one of the main things that the early Fallout games really instill in the player is that their choices matter. That is drilled hard, almost through the head at every given moment. If you screw up even an innocuous speech check, then that could actually spell the end of numerous lives, or you could even lock yourself out of some truly juicy content. And it's this formula that makes every single playthrough a tense mix of knowing when to push your luck and when to pull out your hip iron. However, for those that complete Fallout 2 and are looking for a little bit of a challenge, then why not go and try and find this hidden item that completely breaks the game? I'm speaking, of course, about the Fallout 2 hint book. If you return to the Drunk Cupid Chapel, you can speak to Father Tully after destroying the Enclave oil rig, and he will reward you with the Fallout 2 hint book. Now, this comically named item, which holds a brilliant description of, well, this would have been useful to have at the beginning of the game, gives you 10,000 experience points each and every time you use it, and boosts your skills to 300%. In this instant, you become a god of the wasteland, and you can do, well, literally anything. It completely shatters the game in half, because now you can just walk through, just tank a load of bullets, talk your way out of problems, talk your way into problems, and have a bloody good time doing it. So the question remains, will you be a benevolent leader of the wasteland, or an absolute despot tyrant? I know which one I'm going for. Number 6, Sonic 3 and Knuckles Hypersonic. So one of the most exhilarating things about the early Sonic games, aside from the sheer ludicrous speeds that you could reach, was the ability to turn into Super Sonic. Now, this Saiyan-head hedgehog form could be achieved by collecting all of the Chaos Emeralds in the special stages of Sonic 2, and basically turned the game into a very, 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 very easy mode by offering players invincibility from enemy attacks, increased speed, and some ludicrous height on their jumps. Rampaging through levels as this golden god was as hilarious for players as it probably was terrifying for Sonic's enemies. However, Sonic and Knuckles, well, it took things further. In this game, you could still collect the Chaos Emeralds to turn into Super Sonic, but if you then went and collected all of the Super Emeralds from another set of special zones, you'd be able to turn into Hypersonic. Now, this bad boy is no slouch whatsoever. He's even faster, he's even more invulnerable because now he can't drown, and he has an area clearing effect that basically shoots lightning out and then flings him off across the other side of the screen. It's amazing. So you just go enemies, so gather around. No, boom! Boom, didn't like that, did ya? Gotcha, it's a prank, bro. Oh, nice 2012 there. Reference there, Jules. Good one. This completely flips the gameplay on its head, as now you're screaming through levels at such speed that it might actually melt your brain. And you have to love Sega for including the ability to transform twice and giving the player no indication that they could actually do it. Even Knuckles gets a look in on the action with his own form. Brilliant. Number 5, Resident Evil 2, The Fourth Survivor. Oh yes. Let's give a big round of applause to Capcom for their early Resident Evil games. Come on, here we go. Shh, quiet you. Pipe it down. As not only are these games considered to be the benchmark of survival horror titles even to this day, but somehow, in between all of the rabid dogs jumping through windows and terrifying hulking super soldiers, they managed to add in a brilliant extra mode that would go on to spawn its own cult following and even its own game. I'm speaking, of course, about The Fourth Survivor, which was so popular that it would end up becoming The Mercenaries and even get its own DS game, and it was... I feel it coming... Chef kiss. Telling the events of Hunk, the all-time best-named character in the entire series, the player would pilot this Umbrella operative on a desperate race against time to escape Raccoon City. And the added time constraint, plus the joy of the remixed areas and enemies, was an utter thrill ride from start to finish, and rewarded players for putting in the hours on the main scenarios, as it could only be unlocked by completing both and achieving an A rank on at least one of them. Plus, if this wasn't brilliant enough, you could, of course, unlock the Tofu Survivor, which allowed you to play as an anthropomorphic piece of tofu named, well, Tofu. Unfortunately, he was only armed with a knife and a few healing items, and it was much harder, but still, it's just so hilarious. It was so good, and Capcom, again, round of applause, deserves even more praise because of the fact that they took that mode and expanded upon it in the utterly brilliant Resident Evil 2 remake. So, I'm knackered from clapping them, but well done, Capcom. Well done. Number 4, the typing of the Skullgirls. Skullgirls. Have you ever found yourself juggling an enemy with an impressive fighting move combination and thought to yourself, yeah, well, this is good, but I wish I could spell anti-disestablishmentarianism? Well, my friend, if you are in such a situation, then there is a solution to your very specific needs, and it comes in the form of the absolutely fantastic Skullgirls. Not only is this a brilliantly slick fighting title and a blast to play online or with friends, but the devs even found time to include a hidden feature that is at once a hilarious reference to to the typing of the dead, but also an absolute hoot to take part in. By typing "gotta type fast" in the intro screen on the PC version, you'll unlock the typing of the Skullgirls mode. In this scenario, your super meter is constantly charging, which encourages their uses. However, once you've input the combo to do them, time will freeze and a random phrase or set of words will pop up, which you now need to type in before the move will register. If you fail, you whiff your attack, but if you succeed, you get to unleash not only an over-the-top super move complete with tons of visual effects, but also smile at the knowledge that even though you've taken a fair few roundhouses to the face, that your brains have not been dulled in the slightest. They might be dripping out your ear though. Number 3, Green Goblin mode, Spider-Man. So how could one possibly hope to top the sheer exhilarating joy of swinging through the New York skyline as Spider-Man? Well, if you look a bit closer at that building, you'll see that it's actually made of cardboard, a bit of scenery. And that scenery's looking awfully chewed because, of course, you get to play as the Green Goblin by completing the game on Hero Mode, which unlocks a brand new story mode. This isn't just some fancy skin swap, this is a brand new adventure with Harry Osborn as the lead. Here he takes on the mantle of the second Green Goblin and looks into the death of his father. This means brand new voice lines for the characters, new combat mechanics, and of course, a new way to traverse the city atop his cool-ass glider. And this mode gets even more meta as well when you realise that there are cheats for this, which allow you to cool down the glider, which means it can constantly just fly forever, and you can buff his attack powers. My brain, it's completely scrambled. But I love this so very much. Number 2, The Warriors, Armies of the Night. Now, let it be known that the Warriors film is quite easily one of my favourite cinematic experiences, and say it with me, kids, of all time. It is so gloriously over the top and campy and silly. I just absolutely adore it, and the multitudes of different colourful and creative gangs that they made for this flick. In fact, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to ask for it. Slime Jesus, hop down here for a second, mate. How you been? Had a good New Year's? Good Christmas? Fantastic. How are the wife and kids? You know what? Let's cut to small deal. I need you to give the blessing to the Warriors. Can you do that? What's that? You've already done it? Of course. I should have seen your fingerprints all over it. Beelzebub's nowhere, not even sniffed it, has he? Brilliant. Right. We're done now. Bye. Bye. What a ledge, eh? What a ledge. And so with my love of this, of course I was over the moon, runners, pun intended there, because it's a gang, whoa, aren't I clever, when Rockstar decided to bless us all with the brilliant video game adaptation of this film. It was brilliantly faithful to the flick, had outstanding brawling at its core, and even expanded upon the lore by offering new chapters that focused on the rise of the Warriors and the fall of their rivals, the Destroyers. Plus the game was rife with unlockables, including a ton of new characters for the multiplayer modes and even an extensive hidden mini-game that could be accessed after completing the main game. By heading over to the arcade cabinet that can be found in the Warriors' hideout, you could play Armies of the Night, a side-scrolling beat-em-up in the same vein as Final Fight or Streets of Rage, and the combat of the main game transitioned beautifully to this mini-game, and it was so popular that it actually influenced a pseudo-standalone release later down the line. Now, unfortunately, this version of the game wasn't anywhere near as good as the original mini-game, but still, props for trying, and of course, thank you, Rockstar, for a hefty uppercut of content. And number 1, a 2-player mode in GTA San Andreas. Of all of the features that you would think would be advertised in advance of a GTA release pre the online era of GTA 4 and GTA 5, you would think that multiplayer would definitely be pretty high on that list, right? After all, who wouldn't want to indulge in a bit of the extreme violence with a friend alongside? Well, for some reason, Rockstar never even thought to promote this feature of GTA San Andreas, but it is true, you can play this game, or at least some portions of it, with a pal. Now, throughout the game, you'll see the ever-familiar Rampage icons, which allows CJ to express his feelings loudly and through the barrel of a gun at anyone nearby. And if you've got a second controller plugged in, your friend can select one of a number of skins and join in the fray. Now, in the Rampage mode, you have to kill as many people as possible before the time runs out, and it is, as the name might suggest, absolute chaos. However, if you're up for a bit more of a relaxed experience, there are also free roam tokens as well that you can find throughout the map, which allow you and a buddy to just do whatever it is you want. It is utterly outstanding how this works in the game, and while it's a bit buggy and the camera is definitely, well, drunk at most times, it's still incredibly fun to play, and it's so surprising that this killer feature was never really advertised much. Strange. And there we go, my friends, my first Choose Your Own Adventure of 2021. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, as well as your suggestions for next week's episode. If you want to chat to me further, you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice. It's my personal gaming channel where I stream every single Wednesday and Sunday. It'd be great to see you over there. But before I go, my friend, I just want to highlight one killer feature that we all have inside every single one of us, and that is that you are a massive ledge. You, yes, you watching this video, deserve love and respect. We all do as human beings, and do not let anyone or anything else tell you otherwise, okay? If you are struggling, I know it's the beginning of the year in 2021, the nights are cold and dark, and it's a bit depressing, all said and told. Just remember, you're not alone. Friends, family, professionals in the support industry, these people care about you and want you to do well, okay? I know I stress that a lot, but it's just very, very important to me that you look after yourself. Big love from me to you, and go out there and absolutely smash it. As always, I've been Jules, you have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon.